Hey everyone! So today we're unboxing live the Beats Solo 3 wireless pair of headphones, which I just bought today at the Apple Store. So let's get going. And this is a live unboxing, which means that if you are watching this live, I can read your comments, I can respond to them. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the box, then I'm going to have a bit of a listen, give you some first impressions of the sound, and then I'm going to answer any questions that you have in the live chat about the headphones. So again, live unboxing, very fun way to do this. Thanks again to my Patreon subscribers who actually allowed me to buy all the infrastructure that was necessary to make this happen. Okay, so there's two questions I kind of want to answer about the Solo 3 wireless. And I got the white one this time. If you missed my previous unboxing, we got the matte black of the Beats EP that was just launched. Two questions I want to answer. Number one, does it sound any different at all from the Solo 2? I'm not going to be able to answer your questions about whether it sounds any different from the Solo 2 wireless because I don't own a pair of Solo 2 wireless. Second question I want to answer is how does the wireless pairing with the new W1 chip works? Because I've done a bit of a reading and apparently one of the big features, for instance, that has been enabled by the new chip is it supports up to 40 hours of wireless battery life, which is pretty impressive. Anyway, let's open this and go ahead. Okay, and then flip it open, just like yesterday. Very similar packaging to the Beats EP box. Change the way you hear sound. Hopefully that does not involve hearing loss or any other things like that. We will open up this part and then we look at the case. So, first remark I have to say about this case is this is a different material from the Beats Solo 2 case because it actually has a bit of texture to it. It's not just kind of foamy. It actually looks nice. Can't see it on the camera right now, but yeah, there's that smell again from all these new Beats products. It's that faintly appealing but chemical smell. I have no idea what it is. But nicer case right off the bat. Let's see if there's anything in the box that's worth looking at just quickly. So, we've got the little guide, Beats Solo 3 wireless. So let's see if we need to know anything. iOS 10. Oh, so shout out in the comments if you have installed the new software update. I installed it this morning. I do have some comments about it, which I will make later. But there we go. It says turn on Bluetooth to connect it. And then connect Solo 3 wireless by pressing the power button for 1 second, hold near unlocked iPhone, then follow on-screen instructions. So that is obviously different from how you normally pair a Bluetooth device. It sounds more like NFC, but we will see. Seems pretty simple. We'll refer to this if we need it. Then we got this bigger sticker. So with a more expensive headphone, you get a bigger sticker. If you remember the Beats EP, you got a tiny sticker. So that's where your money's going. Then we got regulatory information. So we're done with that. It also comes with this cable. So I'm assuming that it can be used in wired mode. I got the white color this time. So I'm actually going to see, I'm going to be interested to see if this white rubber and the other materials discolor over time. I suspect they will. Generally with white electronics, they do. Fingers crossed that it doesn't do it too quickly. Oh yeah, that was just part of that. Then we got the, what are these things called again? Carbuncles. No, it's not a carabiner. That's right. Okay, we got a carabiner. And then here's the funny bit. Here's the charging cable. What connector is this? Oh, it's micro USB. It's not lightning. Isn't that amusing? So, let's actually have a look at this headphone, shall we? Da 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 da. There we go. Ooh-wee. So, one of the things was that I actually was trying to figure out whether I should buy a pair of these to review or not. And I'll just point out. So, another nice improvement that I've noticed in this case, it actually has a pocket so you can put that cable into it, which is so helpful. Anyway, while I was deciding whether or not to get a pair of these to review, and I was looking at the Apple Store app, just looking at the local stock, all the first day stock allocation actually just evaporated in 20 minutes while I was considering it. So I took that as a sign of kind of initial demand, and I walked into the store and they said, well, we have one white pair left. So let's peel off this sticker. What does the sticker say? Charge me up for wireless mode. And then I'll do this, peel it here. Look, there we go. So the white looks quite nice. I chose white, very appliance white. One difference with this white kind of color is that on the other white Beats headphones, I've seen that there's actually a two-tone silver bit inside, which I wasn't such a big fan of. I kind of like this completely white look. Now let's hope, again, that it sort of stays white instead of turning kind of yellow or something gross like that. Now, let's test out the wireless, which is one of the two questions I wanted to answer here today in terms of how it worked. So let's turn Bluetooth on. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see how this works. Apparently, I press the power button and it sort of lights up. It's got a kind of full charge or something. Then I put it near. Oh, you see that? Okay, so it pops up. I don't know if you can see that very well. Beats Solo 3. That's slick. Okay, and then I just hit connect there. So what this tells you immediately is that the W1 wireless features that have been enabled as part of this new headphone with the new wireless chip, they aren't exclusive to the new iPhone 7. They work with any, I think, or probably most of the recent Apple devices. This is an iPhone SE. So that whole thing is apparently dependent on iOS 10 and the W1 chip. It's not dependent on the actual model of phone. I've done some reading about the Bluetooth protocol. They are not using any sort of special Bluetooth protocol here. They are using standard Bluetooth, but they are using possibly class 1 Bluetooth as opposed to class 2, which is a much stronger range. They've also put their own kind of proprietary software stack on top of it. And also they have power optimized it. So the previous Solo 2 wireless got like 12 hours of battery life apparently. The new one gets 40 hours. So I would say that is an improvement in terms of wireless battery life. Okay, so, and then there's the new unlocking screen. Okay, so let's actually see whether it sounds any different from the Solo 2 as I remember it. Now, in all my reviews that I read of the Solo 2 wireless, they said it didn't really sound much different from the Solo 2. So this is the Solo 3, made under the watchful eye of the new parent corporation Apple. So we will see if it sounds any better. So I'm going to put this on and have a listen. And also I'm going to give you some comments. This iOS 10. So I like most of the little changes so far to iOS 10. What I do not like, and you can see it immediately, is that on a 4-inch display, the new music app is ridiculous. This is the album art view. I can see 4 albums on the screen at the same time on a 4-inch phone. It is, I would say this is less than usable. And God forbid that you don't have a complete set of album art for your music, because this would just be terrible to navigate. So it's because it's so visually dominant in terms of the album artwork as opposed to the text. If you don't have album artwork downloaded, then good luck. Let's break this in with actually the track that I was playing before. I mean, there are some, I like the new way that the music interface works in terms of all the floating cards and stuff. That's really cool. We're going to go with Fly Away from the Panty and Stocking album. I'm going to press play here. So this track, Fly Away, is a very, very hotly mastered track. If you go and have a Google and you have a listen to it, it's very aggressive and hot and compressed from this soundtrack. Now, what I'm hearing from the Solo 3 wireless at the moment is I think it's actually a little more treble focused than the Solo 2, but I'm going to have a listen to the Solo 2 now, so I don't want to give you the wrong information there, but that was my big question, is it going to sound any different? Okay, so very, very similar in terms of the mid-tones and the treble. Very similar presentation in how kind of the Beats headphones, or at least the new ones, have always had that kind of very high energy in the mid-tone without being aggressively harsh in the treble. I think they sound very similar in the mid-tones and the treble, but what I'm actually getting from this comparison right now is that the Solo 3 is actually slightly less bassy than the Solo 2. That is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. It depends on whether you like the Solo 2's amount of bass. Janya Inose says he's comparing a wide Solo 2 to a Bluetooth Solo 3. That's not fair. Well, I understand what you're saying. It's not exactly a like-for-like comparison. I'm really just curious to see whether, as you get more products being made by Apple, under Apple's kind of development focus, whether the overall direction in terms of sound signature of Beats starts to change, because they've always been a bassier kind of headphone brand. But the recent models like the Solo 2 and this EP model, they have been, I mean, they're still bassy headphones, but I think that they are now very capable bassy headphones. They have a nice chunky, fun sound to them, a lot of energy to the sound, but at the same time, they aren't like, you know, a lot of people say that the old Beats headphones were like listening through cardboard. I don't get that impression with the new ones. So I'm really curious to see whether the direction starts to change. As far as the Bluetooth connectivity goes, I'm not going to lose any sleep over quality differences between the wired and the wireless connection. Let's go with the next track. This is a really cool album. The Raven That Refused to Sing and Other Stories by Steven Wilson. And I go with Luminol. This is an awesome test track because it's a brilliant album. Steven Wilson, who you may also know from Porcupine Tree, kind of like prog rock, lots of crazy different types of instrumentals, flutes, guitars, drums, saxophone. Really cool stuff. Really great track. So let's have a listen. Yep. Okay. So what I'm getting from this is that the Solo 3 is slightly less bassy than the Solo 2. So there is a difference in sound between these two, which honestly I wasn't sure if I should have expected or not. Because physically, if you look at them, they're very similar looking headphones. Very, very similar. But they aren't entirely the same. So one thing that I'll point out that you can see, that I noticed while I've been playing around with this, is that, I don't know if it shows up in camera, this is a sealed kind of area here. If you look here, there are vents here. There are all these vents on this headphone. I don't know if they vent into the capsule, but there's a bunch of vents, maybe for the wireless. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump into the comments now, and I'm going to answer a few questions that you might have about these headphones. So let's do that. Andrew Avalos asks, or says rather, I would rather get the Bose QC35. These Bose aren't worth the money. I'm assuming you mean to say that these Beats aren't worth the money. So that's what I'm sort of curious about, because definitely you're looking at a price that's very similar to something like the QC35. And you get noise cancelling with that, and I think the QC35 is really great because you get that noise cancelling. The Solo 3 does not do noise cancelling. David, who asked, would you replace any of the on-ear headphones of your collection for these? Well, basically, I have two favorite on-ear headphones. It's the Solo 2 and the Beyerdynamic T51P, which I brought along because I thought it would receive a mention. Oh, and it's got a paperclip stuck to it because of the magnet. Good old Tesla magnet. I think the T51P sounds great. Really love that sound signature. The Solo 2, I like the sound. I don't love it quite as much, but it's really nice for the right kind of track because it has that chunky bass tone. So it's just really exciting, and I don't believe that there's been any better headphone, for instance, for Yeezus by Kanye West. That is a great album on the Solo 2, and not so much on the T51P. The T51P is probably more of an all-rounder, though, I would say. But I did buy this with the expectation that it would sound very similar to the Solo 2 and thus replace the Solo 2. And once I get this, I can sell the Solo 2. Karem Gunez, sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, asks, does the W1 chip make a difference? So what I can kind of intuit from this kind of so far first impressions interaction with this headphone is that the W1 chip seems to pair very quickly, kind of like NFC for the iPhone. The iPhone has an NFC chip, but Apple has locked down the NFC chip so that basically the only thing that has up till now the NFC chip has worked for is things like Apple Pay and that kind of thing. And now they're unlocking the NFC functions, I believe, for the Solo 3 and their products, but it's basically, apart from that, it's not broadly compatible with a huge range of accessories in the same way that NFC on, say, an Android device is. Thank you so much for joining in live, if you have joined in live. And it's great, this format of doing a live unboxing, to be able to answer questions immediately about the product. That's really cool. Thanks once again to my Patreon subscribers who have supported the channel and who've made this sort of thing possible. Duke Sim asks, any new stuff coming in? Boy, oh boy, I have a backlog of stuff. So I'm not going to be able to do a review of these immediately because I'm still a bunch of other things that I'm going to have to review. We've got the Etymotic ER4RX coming up, and I'm going to do a bit of a kind of noise cancelling festival of sound sort of video. We've got the AKG N40 and the new pair of stacks. So yeah, there is plenty of stuff coming up. So, if you aren't already, subscribe if you want to see me talk about audio or other stuff. And I have another kind of secret project planned. So completely unrelated to audio. So you can look forward to that. I will see you guys and girls all later. Thank you so much for joining in. And happy listening.